A busy morning so far in the motorsports world in terms of news, in terms of actual action on the track. And today we have another update on the Kyle Busch contract situation. We'll get to that here in a minute. First, I want to cover some of the quick things. First, we're going to talk about the two qualifying sessions that happened this morning. Number one in F1, number two in NASCAR on the Formula One side of things. A bit of a shock, actually, for who's on pole. George Russell got his first career pole for Mercedes, his first career pole overall. But, of course, last year at Hungary, it was the first place where Russell scored points for Williams. Just a reminder that Nicholas Latifi, he scored points for Williams first because he finished higher. Latifi was fastest in the third practice session. That was a shocker of the day. But anyways, Russell on pole beats both Ferraris. Ferrari has been the favorite for this race. Just due to the way their car is built. It's better suits this track than other tracks. And Red Bull struggled terribly. Perez didn't get into Q3. Verstappen had power issues. He's starting 10th, so this is a big weekend for Ferrari to potentially close in on both championships. Then on the NASCAR Cup Series side of things, Tyler Reddick won his second career pole. Both of his poles coming on road courses. His first at COTA in 2021. His second today at the Indianapolis road course. So, yeah, I think Austin Cindric's on the front row with him. Some other kind of fun guys up there. Todd Gilliland up there in the top 10. Michael McDowell, both front row cars. Really good qualifying for them. Could they potentially shock the world? Get themselves a win to get themselves into the playoffs. And, of course, I got to talk about him. Daniel Kvyat, in his first NASCAR qualifying session, qualifies 36th. So, yeah, for the Team Hesselberg, his first weekend in the Cup Series, 36th. So, he's still learning. He's his first race. So, and also he's with Team Hesselberg. But hopefully he can get better. We'll see how he does on Sunday. Now to some of the news side of things. Let's talk about Erik Jones. And news that's really not that shocking. It was very expected. It's been very deserved, to say the least. Erik Jones has signed a contract extension with Petty GMS to keep him in the number 43 car. It's a multi-year deal. Of course, you know, Erik Jones is his second year in the 43 car, I believe. And ever since the merger, Petty GMS, the next-gen car, they've actually been doing very well. They've had some top 5 runs, top 10 runs. They've even led some laps at tracks like Auto Club. It's been a very good year for Petty GMS. They've had some problems where, you know, they could have better results, really. I mean, there have been times they've been in the top 10 and they've crashed out of the race. They've been up front and a late race caution screws them over. They're in the middle of pit stop, something like that. So they've actually had a really, really good year, and it's great to see Erik Jones leading that charge. Of course, just a couple weeks ago, it was announced that Ty Dillon, the other Petty GMS driver, would be let go after only one season with the team. But Erik Jones has been performing very, very strongly, so it's no shock to see him back in the 43 car. Very happy for him. Hopefully he can, you know, shock the world maybe one of these weeks, win a race, and advance to the playoffs. That'd be a fun storyline. But Erik Jones, Petty GMS, extending their contract, extending their partnership. No shock there. Now let's talk about what everyone's here to talk about. Kyle Busch. What is he going to do? Is he going to go to Stewart-Haas Racing? Is he going to go somewhere else? Is he going to stay at Joe Gibbs Racing? I'm still on he's going to find a way to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing, but then more things come out. But today, this kind of actually helped my case. One thing did, and then the other thing actually didn't. But let's talk about what Kyle Busch himself said, and then we'll talk about what Kevin Harvick said here in a minute. So Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 car currently, I must say. During his media availability, it seems like every Friday, Saturday, whenever the media is available to Kyle Busch, these are the questions that get asked. He doesn't get asked, oh, hey, how's the car feel this week? Oh, hey, how do you guys think you're going to do this week? It's, hey, when are you going to sign a contract with someone? But, of course, you know, this time of the summer is when those questions get asked, and the fact that it's Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing that have not come to an agreement yet, it is a little bit shocking. But some of the quotes that Kyle Busch said, he has changed his tone a little bit. Kyle Busch, he has wanted to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs wants to keep Kyle Busch, but Kyle Busch wants to keep his value. He wants to get paid what he deserves. He wants his normal paycheck, but without a sponsor, Joe Gibbs Racing cannot pay him the amount of money that he wants. So they they can't pay him that money. They literally cannot pay him that money unless they are able to get a sponsor. They almost signed with Oracle, but Oracle, that deal fell through. Oracle is now over in F1 with Red Bull as the title sponsor of that team. Other deals have fallen through apparently, but there's no reveal of what they were. But some quotes today from Kyle Busch seems that he may have changed his tone a little bit, and this is why I believe he's going to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing. He is willing to race for under his market value, and he's willing to take concessions. So, what that means is pretty simple. Under his value means that he's willing to take a pay cut if it means he gets to stay competitive, I guess, you know. Joe Gibbs Racing, obviously one of the best teams in the Cup Series currently. They have been for quite a while. Kyle Busch has won 2 championships with them. He's won almost 60 Cup races with them. He's won a ton of Xfinity Series races with them. So Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing have had a ton of success together. In fact, I think Kyle Busch is the most successful JGR driver of all time in terms of statistics and all that stuff, and, you know, just overall. So to see him leave the team would be shocking, yes, but it seems like the way the negotiations are going, it seems like it's going to be Kyle Busch who has to change his perspective in terms of he wants to stay there. Joe Gibbs is not going to give him the same contract he's been getting without a sponsor. And it could be one of those things like with Brad Keselowski. Remember, in the middle of 2020, Brad Keselowski was a free agent and trying to figure out where he would go. He signed a 1-year deal with Team Penske to give them an extra year to figure things out. Try to get a multi-year deal. Keselowski wanted ownership in the team, which he did not get, which is why he eventually left to go to RFK. But, you know, maybe they do something like that. They sign a 1-year deal, give themselves some more time to find a major sponsor. Busch only takes a pay cut for 1 year. I could very well see that happening. But if Kyle Busch wants to get paid and paid now, he's got to look at his other options. There's not a ton of options out there that are willing to pay him. RCR is not going to pay him that much, and RCR and Kyle Busch, Richard Childress and Kyle Busch specifically don't have a great history, so don't bet on that. You know, you look at the other options in terms of there's almost everything's locked up at this point, so you'd really have to go out of the box to figure out where he's going. Trackhouse, if they added a third car, maybe, but that would be out of nowhere. And then the other realistic option for Kyle Busch outside of Joe Gibbs Racing is Stewart-Haas Racing. That's right, Stewart-Haas Racing, no, they have not been competitive the last few years compared to what they were a few years ago. In 2020, Kevin Harvick had 9 wins and should have won the championship if it wasn't for the stupid format. Kevin Harvick has won a ton of races for Stewart-Haas Racing. He's got a championship in 2014. They've been a championship caliber team before, but the last couple of years, 2021 and 2022, nowhere close to that. Only 1 win in 2021 with Aric Almirola. This year, only 1 win with Chase Briscoe. It's been a struggle for Stewart-Haas Racing. All their cars are out of the playoffs except Briscoe right now. Harvick's not even in on points, not even within a race on points. Almirola is way out. Custer is not even in the top 25 in points, I don't think. It has been a horrendous. I was trying to say terrible or horrendous. I almost said torrendous. But the point being, Stewart-Haas Racing has struggled. So if Kyle Busch is looking for performance, Stewart-Haas Racing is not where he's going to go, but if he's looking for money, that would be where he wants to go. And of course, if Kevin Harvick or Kyle Busch were to go to Stewart-Haas Racing, whether it's the 10 or the 41, Kevin Harvick would be his teammate. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch almost even on the all-time wins list. I think Harvick has like 56 or 57. Kyle Busch has 58 or 59. So they're really close there, but they've been competing together for a long time. They've competed for wins, championships. They fought on track together so many times. They've even fought on the pit road a couple of times. They've had their problems, which is why I'm a little surprised at this part. Now, I understand that there's a mutual respect between drivers in the garage. I'm not saying that they hate each other or anything, but Kevin Harvick said that he is 100% open to having Kyle Busch as a teammate. He said, I don't know. He said he doesn't pay attention to the stuff like which car it would be. Would it be the 10? Would they kick Cole Custer out and put Kyle in the 41 if Almirola decides to unretire? He said he doesn't really pay attention to that stuff, but Kevin Harvick had a big smile on his face when discussing this. He said that he thinks Kyle Busch would make the organization faster, and he said when when you get a guy who's really fast and knows what he's doing into the organization, he helps improve the rest of the organization. So Kevin Harvick seems to think you bring in Kyle Busch, the organization will rise up. So Kevin Harvick is very optimistic. I was very surprised to hear that. Not just, obviously you have two Hall of Famers together as teammates. That's no shock that they have mutual respect for each other. Or to hear, oh yeah, we'd love to have him, because, you're not going to say, oh, if Kyle Busch is on my team, I'm going to be pissed off, because Kyle's not going to go there. You're trying. It does also help Harvick, as he's saying. Stewart-Haas Racing, as I said, has not been good the last 2 years. Their wins even have been like just random. They haven't been flukes, because Almirola was genuinely fast at New Hampshire. Briscoe was genuinely fast at Phoenix, but it was just very random. There's no other way to put it. It was random. And anyways, Harvick's trying to do the best for himself. I mean, look at the current lineup. You got a young Chase Briscoe, and he's actually doing pretty good. He had a rough rookie season, but he had his moments, like at Indianapolis. This year, Briscoe hasn't done too bad. He started off the season very, very strong, with some great qualifying efforts, some great race results, the win at Phoenix. So Briscoe's been doing good at times. Almirola has been inconsistent, but he's had some top 10 runs. He's shown speed at some tracks. Cole Custer he's in the 41 car for now. Realistically, he's had a terrible season. And then Harvick himself, he's had an up and down season. He's had really good runs, like at New Hampshire, Richmond, but they've also had their struggles as well. So Kevin Harvick seems to think you bring in Kyle Busch, you're going to bring in, a guy fresh out of somewhere else, out of a top-tier team that's been top-tier, been able to stay top-tier for more than a decade, and he's going to bring in a different perspective, potentially. Bring in something, that could elevate the team as a whole. If you're going to have two open seats, potentially, you don't want to throw in, you could throw in a rookie, you could throw in a second, third year guy, but realistically, you'd rather have a Hall of Famer who has almost 60 Cup wins, 2 championships, because he's going to help that team a ton. And not only is it going to help that one specific car, whatever car Kyle Busch goes to, it's going to help the whole organization. It's going to help Kevin Harvick, the 10 car, Chase Briscoe, if Kyle Busch does indeed go to the 41. So I was definitely shocked to hear that, or not shocked, but I was definitely a little I saw that and I was like, oh, that's a little surprising that Kevin Harvick. So it was like a 1-minute video of him talking about, oh yeah, I would love to have Kyle Busch as a teammate, and his facial expressions, it's like he knows something. He's got that face like, oh, hey, you guys are asking me something. I can't reveal that, but no, for real though, it would be an interesting dynamic, I think, for sure. Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick as teammates, but yeah, definitely interesting. They've had their problems in the past. Homestead 2010, Darlington 2011. I don't think, as of recently, I don't think they've had their problems. The closest thing was Martinsville 2020, but Kyle Busch was pretty understanding, and he ended up finishing in the same position as when he got spun anyway. So, yeah, it's interesting. This whole Kyle Busch thing, it's interesting. And, Harvick's saying that he gets along well with Kyle. They have a good relationship. He still doesn't know what Stewart-Haas Racing's plans are for next year. It's interesting. It's interesting. But Kyle Busch, of course, will he stay with Joe Gibbs Racing? Will he go to Stewart-Haas Racing? Will someone else shock us and sign him? I don't know. I really don't know. But Kyle Busch, the biggest free agent probably since Dale Jr. When he was leaving DEI, and it's still we don't know yet. We don't know, but should be exciting to see where he ends up. I'm still on the. If I had to guess, I still think he gets with JGR, stays with JGR. I don't know how. I don't know if it's a 1-year deal, figure this sponsor thing out later, if they sign a multi-year deal expecting a sponsor, but I really don't see him leaving SHR or JGR. But if he did leave, I think SHR would be the top choice for him, not purely because of performance, but maybe because of the money. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. A lot of news. I know a lot of things have been going on this week. We talked about a lot, so many things, disqualifications, new NASCAR drivers like Kvyat. Kurt Busch still out, hoping the best for him. There was a picture of him at the 2311 headquarters today. So thankfully he's able to do some things. But yeah, it's just been such a big news week. So I'll let you guys go now. I'll finish up this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe for more racing content. Gained a lot of subscribers in the last week, so thank you so much for that. And yeah, any updates on any of this stuff, I'll let you know. We got the Hungarian Grand Prix tomorrow. We got the NASCAR Cup Series race at Indianapolis tomorrow. We'll talk about both of those. Looking forward to it.